Buddy, Jesus, how long is this intro? I mean, I'm
It's 1 minute
driving, but
32 seconds.
hello, everybody. Welcome to our open mic podcast. Eh,
Yes,
podcast, I
what
guess.
it
So,
is.
right. I guess I'll introduce, right, since it's my since this is happening over on my YouTube channel. Um, hello, everybody. Long time no see. I know, but we are bringing a brand new thing here to this channel, since there's quite a few of you here, and I don't really have any like tutorials and stuff to upload at the moment, but we still want to carry on sharing things from our hearts and from our brains, and so yeah, here we are, four beautiful ladies that are going to be discussing a very interesting topic today. And so, just quickly, we have Olga, Nuneka, Aditi, and yours truly. Go check them out. I don't know if anybody's added the description and somebody's links, but yeah, if you don't know who these ladies are, then go and check them out. Definitely. But yeah, I will pass the mic to somebody else because I'm just gonna forever. Hi. What
There
topic are
you
we
go.
discussing today?
So I was just going to add, I think we're streaming on everybody's YouTube channel.
Oh,
So it's,
okay.
yeah, we're just going to do it on everybody's YouTube channel so that it caters to everybody's audiences. And we just want this to be a nice, fun podcast. I don't know, interactive chat
What
thingy that we have going here for everybody.
Exactly. And hello, everybody in the comments.
Yes.
Hello. We have quite a few people here. Hello, 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 everybody.
we're talking of no pressure, huh? Like at the start, it's quite quite a lot, and of course, my eyes don't see comments, so I have to invite myself somehow to studio from the device that will allow the screen size of the comments for me to read them.
Don't mind us. This is the first episode one. It's probably going to be a little bit of a um, interesting one, right? We all have to figure out different things. So, but yeah, today we're going to be discussing the topic of.
Okay. I would like to say a couple of things. This is the episode one of hopefully many that will be depending on you guys if you like these chats or not. Um, I'm saying I know the channel. Thanks, Oriana. So the idea is to discuss topics that matter to us that may be or maybe not related to crafting, but of course we are all crafters or artists, and these things happen to us.
Mhm.
So today we have the first topic, and we call it "Am I good enough? I can be that good." I often have this comment on my videos, on my reels, even my classes of people saying, "Oh, you make it look so easy, but I can't do it. I can't be that good." And I think we all have felt like this somehow at any moment.
Mhm.
Um, so the idea today is to talk a little bit about this, but we will also give you some tips on how to stop feeling like that. Okay?
Yes.
So, to make it more fluent, we have added like four subtopics. And first one is feeling inferior. Like, do you feel inferior when you compare to others, guys?
I do. I know I've been there many times.
Yeah, been there.
Many
Exactly.
times. In different areas of life as well, like not just like art or craft related, but like literally with any type of skill or thing that you're trying to learn, or that you're trying to introduce into your life.
And I think I would like to just add to that, that like Iveta pointed out, this feeling of inferiority can come up anytime in our lives, anywhere. It necessarily is not about a skill. It can just be in a relationship when you feel inferior to the other person. So it's a topic that we are obviously targeting in link, in relationship to the art, but like we said before, it just applies generally in life.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Been there many times. What about you, Olga?
It depends. Because,
Olga doesn't
well, like,
struggle with it.
because when we chatted about it before, the same is with feeling if I'm good enough. When I just started, my very first makes, as soon as I finished, I felt like, oh my God, I'm the best person ever. I'm so freaking talented. Nobody can tell me nothing. Oh no, no, that just my new calling. And when I look at those pieces that made me, they put me in the God mode uh, right now. Nobody can find them in the internet, and there is a reason behind it because they are awful. It's an eyesore, and um, no. Uh, so I have periods in my life when I will feel inferior in every single area or in none of them. So that depends on my general self feeling and the place that I am. If everything is sparking happiness, if I'm putting an effort or not. Because if I will not put the effort, then for sure it will start with my projects and then it will reflect on absolutely everything. It will turn that I'm not only shitty artist, but shitty friend, shitty mom, shitty person, like it will be a flood of that feeling.
Yeah, I
That's
was going to ask that how does it affect you when you have this feeling of not being good enough? Like for me, for example, talking about arts and crafts, I reached the point that I cannot even create. Like I really think of, okay, what else can I do if I'm not doing this? Because this is how I pay my bills. And I'm like, okay, I will, plant daisies or I don't know, selling lemonade or what more
bring the lemons, making a stand.
I always I always say that I will go and work in our local shop. I will just put stuff on the shelf and be rude to customers like every other person who is working there, and that will be my new calling. Mm.
That's interesting.
Oriana is saying, I was talking about this last week in my life. Definitely, we are all connected. Of course.
Mhm.
That's true.
I think it's coming up for a lot of people right now, and has been for quite a while. I've personally noticed in conversations with, for example, people that either follow me or my friends and so on. And there's been so much of this happening over the past year of people just being in that kind of space. Can I just backtrack for a second? I find it so interesting how, like Olga said, that you won't find her first pieces right anywhere on the internet, was like I'm the complete opposite. Every year my first piece that I ever created in decoupage, for example, right, it comes up in my memories and I go ahead and I share it every year, because for me this is like I'm looking back at it now and I'm like, oh my god, like obviously I'm much more skilled now and I can see it for what it was at the time. But the amount of joy and the amount of spark that this little thing that is like gave me was enough to bring me to where I am now. And I just wanted to ask Nuneka and Aditi, like like how do you look at that, like your first pieces? Do you feel like you want to hide them away, or do you feel like you want to share them?
In my case, I keep them To make sure I can remember my roots, how I started, and how much I evolved and improved. But no, I don't share that shit.
Why not? Why not? What about you, Aditi?
Come on, no.
I, actually, I'm quite like that. Like sometimes I do share them because yes, it is a journey, and it, for me specifically, because it takes me back so many years, almost a decade, and I look back and I think about where I started from, how I began the things, because for a while I was even selling, with my mom, and so it takes me back to that period. I, reminiscence about, just all the things that we've done, and also just gives me this broader perspective of, wow, how have I grown, like
Mm-hmm.
the artist that I am today. And you know I can now actually see from a different set of eyes what I couldn't see back then. I mean, I think this is something people will relate with, but initially, just when I began participating in challenges and then feeling very sad that, hey, why didn't they pick my entry? But today when I look back at that piece, and I'm like, yes, this is what was wrong with it. And now
Sense.
I
yeah,
think that
exactly, now it makes sense.
it's a good point because Iveta, if you compare to like the amount of experience, and I started uh 16 years ago, maybe, yeah, something like that. So my first makes were made with colorful cardstock, and I had one puncher that was a little flower. So there was not only not so much access to any kind of um, know-how. You basically just saw something, maybe read like one or two um, topics on the forum. There was no YouTube, there was no
Yeah, it was a different
tutorials,
much.
nothing like that. So if I would show you my very first makes, they looked hmm, like the
Like,
child works from the kindergarten. Just child will stick
have
stuff
you
randomly, and might
seen
have
mine? Have you
certain
seen mine?
order.
Like mine is from 2014, and like there was I at that time when I first created it, I had no access to anything. It was a jar, empty jar from coffee, and I like ripped out wrapping paper, gift wrap, and I would try to rip out some motive, and obviously gift wrap. It was like glossy, thick gift wrap that I like smacked onto that jar with like paint from like a kid's acrylic paint set. I only had like the natural bristle brushes and things like that, and it was like one of those. Mm,
But
Okay, I
I
would like
rem-
to go back to the topic, feeling inferior. Are you aware who you compare to and how that is making you feeling inferior?
mm, that's a very good
Like,
question.
because I see many people that they are just starting and they are comparing themselves with people that has been doing this for many years, not only as a hobby but as a main job. And I always say this to my students and the people I teach in person classes: the difference between you and me is the amount of hours I spend in my table. It's just that. I'm not especially gifted. This is not like a talent that like these 4-year-old kids that know how to play violin without studying music. It's not like that. This is a question of practice.
As
you
a
don't
kid to
have
play
Oh
to.
my god,
violin
Sue!
like that.
No, it
Oh
was.
my god, Sue, you cracked me up. She said, "Yes, Nunu, all your texts and our journal pages kill me."
And I was actually just going to point out, Jen and Sue have been making a very, like, few good comments in the chat.
Mm,
Yes.
They've been talking about how, I mean, obviously feeling inferior, and the next bit that we're going to talk about, lack of motivation, they've actually expressed that because they feel inferior, they are losing out on the motivation to create more. But also something that Jen brought up, saying, I feel like I am copying others, and where is my style in it? And even Sue spoke about it, that where is my style in it? So I think that they're bringing out some of the key parts there. We just brought that up. Are you comparing to yourself? Are you seeing that you've begun practicing? Like, so, you're creating journal pages. Yes, they might turn out to be ugly in your words, but if you look back and see your first page and see today, do you see a difference in this term, in terms of composition, in terms of the way you used color, or even the products that you've been using? I'm sure there would be something, like a growth that you would notice in that. And I think that is the key here. Like,
Mm.
Yeah, because
Compared to
the
yourself,
question
who you was when you first started.
question is, how do you feel inferior? Are you feel not as good as somebody else? Because for me, it's when I look at something that I made and it doesn't spark joy, and I hear it in my head basically screaming at me, you could do better. So it's not the matter of comparing with somebody else, it's just that feeling that the thing that I created is not up to my own standard. Not necessarily it have to be compared to somebody else with. I just look at
Sounds
my
like lowering your
creation.
standards to me.
I look at my creation, and that's how I feel it. That's how I take it. Like I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I made it. Like, oh no, no, I can't show that to people, because if no, no.
I guess that would, like, for me, what I'm picking up on that is like, uh, as a teacher or as somebody who is kind of putting themselves online, right, to inspire others, do you put yourself out there to show that you can create artwork? Or are you trying to teach others and trying to inspire others? And I think that's something that we as people that put ourselves out there online, and like we're like, I'm going to teach you how to do this. I think it's something that we have to constantly keep reminding ourselves as well. Because when somebody comes in and they see you for the first time, or like they're trying to learn from you for the first time, the way that you position yourself as a teacher, for example, um, has a big impact. Obviously, we can't take full responsibility for how people perceive what we do, but there is some responsibility that falls on us as people that put ourselves out there in terms of like how we present it. I don't know. Why is everybody gone silent?
Because I'm trying to read
Don't do
comments
this.
on the very small screen, and I'm happy that Adi is keeping track of the comments, because
yeah.
um, I already had a couple, like Jen said, the previous comment of Jen's that was on the screen. I can relate to that. But that that feeling of not being good enough. And I said it multiple times. If I put something out there, if I publish something, nobody can say anything that will hurt me about that piece, because for sure I already told myself much worse things about it in my head. I already went through that first. I am my own worst enemy in that department, because I will point all the flaws, I will make all the critics, and if I'm good with them, I will put it out there. If not, then I will bin it. And often after some time I will bin it soon. And don't hate me. I just have to That's my
It is what
process.
it is.
Yes, it
Okay, I
is
was
what it
asking
is.
this. I was asking, who do you compare with that makes you feel inferior? Because I think the key, and this is the first tip we are going to give you, is to compare yourself only to who you were yesterday. You only have
Exactly.
to be better than yourself yesterday. And that is extremely easy because every day we learn.
Mm-hmm.
You would think so, but that was the first time when I experienced any kind of block or crisis, if you will, when I looked at my work in comparison because of the stupid thing on Facebook. You know, Facebook shows you like, oh, here is your memory from whoever how many years ago. Maybe you want to see it. And at this stage that I was back then, I looked at my work from a year ago back then or 2 years ago, and they were much better, much more interesting than the ones that I was creating at the time. And
And
it made
and the
me
fact
feel
that you are able to see the mistakes you made in those old pieces is a proof that you are better now.
that was the opposite way. I was, at that moment, I was creating something that was less satisfying than the old pieces. I looked at them and I was like, oh my God, I was doing such a cool and fun stuff. And the things that I'm doing now are boring, same old, same old. I keep doing the same thing. And uh, mm, that pushed a huge change in my life. But for a really long time, it made me feel horrible. I was so close of quitting entire artsy thing.
But exactly, exactly, that's the thing. Like, obviously, it can swing both ways. Either you feel inspired, you feel motivated, looking back at what you've done and where you've come, or it actually shows you your potential, reminding you that somewhere down the line, I went a little off track, and there can be several reasons. We're not getting into that. That's for another episode.
That's for
But
each person to figure out as well. Like
exactly,
every case is going to be different.
exactly, and yet it brings back that motivation. It brings back that spark that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm capable of doing. But above all, I think when we say that the tip is to compare yourself with who you were yesterday, it doesn't necessarily mean like look at it timeline wise, but actually just look at yourself for the effort. And like, I think it was Jen who said the process is important initially. The process, the amount of effort you're putting into it, the amount of time you're putting into it. Are you just somebody who tried it, 2 or 3 times and you're not satisfied and you just give up? Or do you want to play with it? Do you want to explore it? And how was it yesterday for you? Are you still drawn to coming back to it?
I,
And that
I
that
want to say
helps.
that I really love how is the chat
Yeah,
going. And
yeah,
I think Amy Michelle said something very interesting thing that we can save for the future episode. She said,
yeah,
think as women, it's hard to take compliments in many different areas of life.
that's true.
Thank you, Amy. We will save that for a future
Or a
topic.
future topic, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I
Mm-hmm.
like that. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. Yeah. And just to say that, I think the self talk that we have with ourselves, that's what's important. Like, are we able to have a positive self talk, or are we always critical of ourselves? Are we always coming back to a topic, telling ourselves, no, I can't do it, no, I'm not good enough, than no, I don't think this is for me? Is that the thought that we keep repeating to ourselves? Then it's time for us to take a check.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let's take a step back and yeah, ask some questions. That
I
is why
really
I
like what Addie said because back then, when I almost ditched it, um, I was in completely different mental space, and I have completely different self-help tools. I didn't have any. Let's be honest. I didn't have any. I didn't have a support system. Yes, I knew that I should not compare myself with others, just with myself. But I didn't have tools that I have now, because uh, that feeling of not being good enough for something didn't happen for me for a while now. But it's not because I'm so great. It's just because I work so hard on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, our tip for this first thing, like feeling inferior, will be compare yourself, yes, with yourself, and practice self,
Positive self-talk.
yes, yeah, positive self talk. Okay, so um, next topic is
My
lack of
favorite.
motivation because you feel you are not good enough. Like that we have already talked about it, but let's go deeper. That's this feeling stops you so much. Like, is it does it affect you so much that you cannot do anything? Like happens to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's let's how do you how it looks for you when you experience that feeling? Can't you start an artwork? Can't you finish it? You don't have ideas.
I
Like,
think
how
that
does it
for
look?
me is just that it's like that feeling steals all the joy, and I don't have ideas. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I feel lost when I'm in that spot.
And I think people call it the creative block very often.
Mm-hmm.
And if you
Mm-hmm.
actually look at the root of it, it's lack of motivation. And yes, okay, not having, I get not having ideas and, feeling lost, but it actually can go down to just as simple as not wanting to get up and do, not wanting to enter your craft space or that space where you can create, and having, these other thoughts that it's okay, it's fine, one day, maybe tomorrow. And then you start procrastinating, and then it just stretches for a period of time.
Mm-hmm. For
So,
me, it's
Greta, yeah,
usually it usually happens, what usually triggers it is if I am working on a project and various things can happen, right? Either like I tried to create something and like at some point something went wrong, or like I lost the idea. I forgot the idea that I had, or like I can't seem to make the idea happen, or like the different reasons can be. But then what I do is then like I will take that project and I will set it to the side and I'll be like, okay, but I have an idea for this other thing. And then I start this other thing. And then the same thing happens to that other thing. And then I have like 3, 4 projects that are going on at the same time. And they're all like in that space of, and that's when the block hits, and that's when the negative self-talk starts to happen, and where it's like, oh my god, I've lost it, I don't know, like I went to bed and everything was fine, and I woke up this morning and all of my talents and skills are completely gone and vanished, and I'm just gonna start selling lemonade.
somebody stop it. Because
Yeah, and then mhm. And
And
then
I
when
like how,
yeah,
sorry, I'm just saying, I like how, in the comments, everybody's saying that, and, it adds to that, that you keep using that energy to plan, but plan in your head. It's not even like you're putting a, pen to paper and planning things
oh,
out.
I do that sometimes too,
Yeah, it's
like
it's like those cloud bubbles
mhm.
floating in your head saying, "Hey, I'm planning. I can do this. Maybe I can do that. No, maybe this. No, maybe that." But never end up doing anything. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
Yeah. Mhm. How do you deal with that?
because I don't struggle like with lack of ideas or with not wanting to sit to my desk. My struggle and block always looks differently. I have the idea, and in theory, I know how to execute it, and it's just not happening because of different reasons. Because I get frustrated, I'm trying to rush it, and because the project have to look like I imagined it, or close enough for me to be able to settle on it. When it looks nothing like I want to, and I cannot put my finger on why, I will redo it, redo it, redo it. I always repaint my stuff 10,000 times before I'm happy.
Mhm.
But when I'm on it and I'm trying and trying and trying, and it's not happening, I just will get um, upset and angry. Uh, and that's not a good headspace to create anything, because when you are already um, upset, and you already know that you already tell yourself like, oh my god, it's not so hard, you know what you have to do, you just have to do it. And
It
then I
doesn't.
do it, and it
It's
looks like shit, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? You have done it so many times before on so much complicated projects. Why this time you cannot do the basic stuff? And I will start to get frustrated to the point that I will get stuck either with unfinished piece, or with piece that I started 10,000 times and I binned it on some stage
and the
every
next thing
time.
you know, you're marching over to the bed.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. And it will reflect on everything, because I use creative process as a tool for myself to let myself flow with the thought. When it doesn't happen, when I cannot go through it, I will start to be frustrated, and it will reflect again on every single area of my life. I will be much less unpleasant to be around. I will go around and just tell people randomly to fuck themselves in the store. I will get upset about every single little thing that normally I would be like, yeah, who gives a shit? And in that moment, every little thing becomes a trigger that will cause very not positive outbursts of emotions and eat up my entire energy.
Actually, thank you, Olga, for sharing that, because that's a good example of how negative self talk worsens things. And that's the reason why we were talking about positive self talk, where, when you're already low and then you get into this loop, and the thoughts, the way we talk to ourselves is just so demotivating. And it's important that we break that loop at one point or the other.
Well, actually, I think one of the tips or possible solutions for this lack of motivation because you don't feel good enough, to me at least, is remember why I do what I do and actually enjoy it. Even if it's just something very, very small. Um, when I feel like this and I'm super blocked, and it's not that I don't have ideas, actually, it's that I don't have ideas that I consider good enough. So what I usually do is that I create my secret art journal and I
Nice.
just
Oh, no,
forget
no, have
about
a
the world.
secret journal.
Yeah, I
Don't
have
tell
a secret
anyone.
one that nobody never sees because that is how I just go back to life. And
Can
it's
somebody message Miguel that we are willing to pay for that?
We're
he,
starting a
he doesn't even
GoFundMe.
know about it. I don't think he's able to find it. So that
Tea. Tea.
that doing something for yourself without the intention of showing it, using it for anything, not taking picture, not anything, that releases the pressure.
Wait,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't make pictures of the pieces that I'm happy with. So
Yeah, but and I like no, you actually brought that, because even Martina wrote about that, ugly messy pages, art journals filled processing feelings, and actually that's exactly what even I do. um, I've been, I started mixed media with art journaling, so that's 10 years now. And I do it not just journaling, like to create pages, but to release, to process emotions, to heal wounds, all of that. So that really helps. But the tip here is not go create art journal page. It is actually go back to seeing why you do what you do. Like, what is your goal? Even if it's watching other people, are you watching other people to feel inspired? Are you watching other people to learn new techniques, to learn, something about the product? Or are you watching other people to practice that technique or that skill and, get better at it yourselves? Anything, to each its own. So understand what your idea is, why you do what you do, like why do you create what you create, and get to the root of it. Like, enjoy it, get back to the feeling of joy, because that is what will take you off that pressure.
yeah,
Yes.
that that is very, very, very good tip because uh, I like to complicate stuff, and most of the things that I'm the most happy with myself are pieces that took amazing amount of time. But after lately, I felt a little bit down. It wasn't art related, but one of the steps was actually not creating, stopping everything to reset the entire everything. Like we are hitting the pause and we are resetting everything. And after that, I created a piece that I would consider quite simple. Surprise! I managed to do it while I was live and during the show. So it was much simpler than the things that I would do before. But I had so much fun, like seriously so much fun. And yeah, I would have to say that unfortunately I would have to bite my tongue because I had fun with Lindy's from all the products on the freaking planet. Who would know? Who would know that the product that I talk so much shit about because it's water reactive and completely not for me, that the product like that will give me so much fun of playing with it. No, no, don't make that face. Don't make that face. Miguel, I'm willing to pay for that journal. I know that you can find it. In the
Oh my
times
god.
when in the times when we were alive more often, Miguel always wanted $10 for handing you water or something like that. So I know that
Okay,
that's the way to his heart.
there is an interesting question here from Jen. I want to be perfect the first time at everything I try. Is that too much to ask? Do
Yes.
you guys know anyone that was perfect the first time they try? I
Yes, it's
wasn't.
too much. It's too much to
Is it
ask
too much?
because
Yes. As I was
uh,
saying, we are not like gifted. Like this is a learning process. There is a learning curve. With you just don't sit there and do whoa
I
project.
will
Yeah,
ask
sometimes
Jen a
happens, but
question in
I
return.
think it's just chance.
I have a question for Jen. What is perfect? Can
I was
you can
just
you
about
describe
to say
what is
that.
perfect? Because if you think about it and take that philosophical road, perfection doesn't exist because as soon you achieve it, there is something that will be more perfect than perfect.
Jen says logically, I know that, but my inner perfectionist expects it. I'm super perfectionist too. Oh my god.
No,
And
I'm not. I'm always
I have
happy
to
with
say that
whatever I will achieve.
this really helps me. Like I'm not going to say that everything in mixed media is okay because it's not to me. No, I'm sorry, not to me. Uh, but I think experience gives you the skills to not surrender, keep working on it until you see that perfect thing you look for. We know. Sorry, I love as Sue comments. It's so funny because she knows me. She knows I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
But I think that every creative person is some kind of perfectionist because we all have some ideal in our head. And it doesn't matter if you came up with your goal, with that perfect ideal thing that you are aiming for, or if you saw it in interweb, if it's somebody else's work that you aim for being at the same level. I don't think that I ever met somebody who just, like first time ever, they were let go to the random craft room. They sat at the desk, saw the products that they didn't know before, and just created a masterpiece, something that they will be happy with, and everyone around them will be like, "Oh my God, how did you do it?" I don't know, it just came over me. I just randomly grabbed the product. No,
I was
it's always
possessed.
exactly. It's always that balance of um, having enough knowledge, skill, and practice, because you can achieve almost any result without skill, but with enough practice. If you try something 10,000 times, you will become a master of that one thing.
Yep. Um, when we were planning this conversation, we reached to the question. Uh, I need all the supplies. Do you really
Yeah.
need all the supplies, or are you just
It's the pressure. It's the pressure
yeah?
actually. And that's one thing that I was, thinking about, that pressure to buy, or that pressure to have the latest release. Like, this person has it, this person has it, and you're looking at it and you're like, I need it. Like, I want it. I need it. It's just that, yeah, exactly. We're all collectors. We're all hoarders. We want everything. It's not want. It becomes a need actually, and um, it can be quite draining. I've heard stories around me of people um, who were drained by this need, like financially, and you know hiding it and doing it and trying to get into that loop. So it can actually go into another altogether extreme, but just the pressure that, I can't create because I don't have that. That can also be a block, like a lack of motivation, saying, I need all those latest supplies. Since I don't have that, maybe I shouldn't try this.
The end. There is, uh, that's not the whole saying that you said, because the whole saying, I don't remember it right now, but it's
Jack
jack
of all
of all
trades.
trades, master of none.
Yes.
But there
Yeah.
is
But
there
often
is
it's
another
better
path.
than one.
Yeah. So that saying is very true. And with the supplies, I'm a cheapskate. I don't know how to tell you that in a different way, but I'm a cheapskate. So uh, since I started, and at the beginning it was because I didn't have access to certain things. Now things changed within those 16 years. Believe it or not, now we have more uh, stuff available. But I always try to do my best with whatever I have. And I don't need all the products. There is a plenty of them that I don't need. And in my personal humble opinion, there is at least a couple that nobody ever needs. They were just developed because
We are not responsible for anything that Olga is saying in this podcast.
no, but like
Statutory
a lot
warning.
of a lot
Responsible
of
anybody, just so you know, this is a completely independent thing, and nobody's
a lot
responsible
of
for Olga's.
let me explain. A lot of things um, are developed to be a ready product when you can do it with the supplies that you already have at home. Do I own glitter paste? Yes, because they have glitter and I love them. And I could buy them, so I do have couple. But I know that I can take gel medium and my own glitter from the drawer and mix it together and have a glitter paste. So do you actually need all the supplies? No, but some of them are good to have. And uh, if having a product is the only thing that stops you, then you should ask yourself, like, is that product is really, really that crucial to that artwork? Could I achieve the same result with a different product? Can I try to achieve? Did I try to make the similar or same result with the stuff that I had at home? Yes, if you did try everything and nothing works like that, then go ahead and buy it. But if you just see something that you like and you immediately buy entire range, like, oh my God, look at that. It's glitter. Let's buy entire rainbow with all the shades and middle shades and all the paints, from white to black through entire rainbow, all shades, saturations, and all of that. Then no, we don't need all the products in the meaning we don't have to have the full range. Each one of us will have couple of them that they actually need to create.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, no, no, who was that on Facebook? She left some amazing tips. Like, I just want to quickly. There was somebody who left a comment.
Yeah,
I
it was
don't.
Carrie dos Santos.
Yeah, and I think she's said some amazing things.
Yeah, but
And
before we go to that, I would like to add a couple of things to this topic. First, when you have this feeling that you need all the supplies because you are watching someone creating something and you want to use that, but you don't have it, ask that person, is there anything I can use instead of that? Because I don't have that product. Ask the expert. And second thing, and this is very important, it's something I learned when I was working as a photographer, is not the tool what makes the masterpiece, is the skills of the artist. My camera is not taking photos alone. That violin is not playing pieces alone. It's the artist and tons of practice what makes a great piece.
Hmm.
So actually, no, you don't need all the supplies.
Definitely not in the green shade.
I was just thinking that's
Personal
exactly what
opinion.
Olga's thinking. That is true.
So the tips for this topic will be learn the process and create something similar. Understand that you um, what is this, Adi? Understand that you and the tutorials creators will never have or need all the supplies, and
Exactly.
see what you have and actually use it. I remember in the very beginning when you are starting, yeah, you have this fever. And I think we all have been through that, like this buying fever. I want it all, I need it all, because you are experimenting, you are trying to find out what you like the most. But we make the mistake of buying it all. I made the mistake of buying all Tin Hall distress inks and sprays. I never use the
Oh
sprays.
yeah,
I rarely
yeah,
use
that
the
was
inks.
a
I
mistake.
use the same 6 colors and I have them all. I bought, for example, Prima watercolor crayons. I never use them, but hey, they are there in the drawer. So in the very beginning, we are all in this.
Do you have
Um,
any tip for that? Because I would have,
I have a
look
tip for
around.
that. My personal tip is when I have this impulse of buying something, I put it in the basket And in that moment, I don't click the button. I go to sleep. Then in the morning, I look at the basket and I ask it myself, do I really need this? Am I going to use it? Or I'm just a collector? Or like how many projects can I do? What I'm planning to do with this? And I can tell you that that cut to half the things I buy.
I would,
Exactly. I mean,
I would
it
go
yeah.
ahead, Adi. Sorry.
No, I mean that, like, knowing, and I think a few people already in the chat were discussing that why do I need to buy this product? And if you're watching somebody, like, since we were talking about tutorials, and is it that I want this product because I want to make what the person in the video was making? Again, then ask the question, like Olga brought up earlier, do I have something similar? Do I have something that can help me just put two things together and make that? And do I have something to achieve a similar effect? Because you don't have to be making the same thing. And that answers, the earlier question of, maybe while doing that, where you're not using the exact same products and trying out and exploring, you might end up finding your style, or you might end up finding, a medium that works perfectly for you. So that can help in that as well, and help you understand the product better in itself, like instead of directly going and buying it, testing out several things and seeing if it works or not. And the usability, is it just for one project, or do I think that's a product that I'm going to work with consistently multiple times?
The comment Dudley made about having too many things and being overwhelmed is very valid. And I would ask, like, why you want all those products? Because that is important question. Because if you want them because you like the result and what, like you see somebody creating something and you want everything that they have, think about, first of all, one thing, why they have those products. Is it because often you will see them on the screen? So if they are on the screen, then it might be a case of them just getting the products from the brand, and they have all the products because they get them to test the products and they have a lot of them. And if you are not testing the products, if you found something that works for you, is there a need for you to buy it? Because I often want just to see how the product will work. So instead of buying it, I will offer somebody to exchange. I will give you something from my stash. Can you send me a little bit? Because I want to compare. Like, I like to have that perfect thing for everything. And as soon as I will find something that works for me, I will not be so curious about testing the other one. Even if it's somebody who I really like and admire, they will not convince me that no one will never convince me that her Clear Gesto is better than mine because we want something else from Clear Gesto. I will not settle for anything except my very favorite. And I would prefer to have only this one and give away like half of my paint just to have that particular product. And yes, sometimes I
Can I?
will
Can,
try something, but yeah, no, yes, you can.
I don't know. Like this whole topic of buying, right? For me personally, it's very it's something that I take very seriously because, in my experience, I was the happiest creating and created my best work, or not necessarily the best work, but created amazing artwork with the smallest amount of products that I had. And if I can give like some advice to people that maybe like constantly find themselves stuck in this cycle where you should stop but you can't, reduce the amount of content that you consume drastically. Pull yourself back from watching other people create. pull yourself back from watching unboxings. Do not watch new releases. Like, remove all of that influence from your life. Go back to creating what you have. I would even suggest like decluttering everything that you do not use that gives you like negative emotions. And then from there, once you start creating, you know that saying, when there's a need, there's a way. When you find yourself that, oh, I want to do this, but I don't have the right combination of products that will achieve this look, that's when you go out and you seek what can. So, like, I think that again, there's various reasons why people buy and get stuck in this consumerist, like consume, consume, consume. The thing is, like, how do you pull yourself out of it? How do you?
I just can say, as your friend, that your friends really appreciate when you distash and declutter.
I know, and I do them regularly. Again, another tip: do your destashes and
Yes,
declutter regularly, because product goes bad. You open it once, you forget about it. Next time you open it, it's dry and it's a
and
waste of product.
that is actually very good tip because as a small friends group, we went through it. You know, if I have the product that I don't know the shade or the product itself doesn't work for her, and it doesn't matter if she bought it or it was sent to her. She just have it. It's standing on the shelf, and it's painful that it's standing over there and going to waste. And she would randomly send it to me. I will either test it, use it, and be surprised that I like it so much. Like the freaking combination of orange and purple. Who would know that it's such a good color combo? I know everyone except me, but for me that was a personal discovery. But if I will test the product and they don't work for me, I will pass it on the next person. Hey, so I tested. It's a good product, but for some kind of reason doesn't work for me. Maybe you want to play with it. And in
Swaps,
that way, yeah,
organize
exactly. Try
products.
to swap the stash that you don't use with somebody else, because as a crafters, we all have that pile of things that we are not using. And
Yes.
I have a question to everyone in the chat. What is the product that when you see it, I don't know, on the screen in the show, that though you had possibly plenty of them, every time when you see the new one, you are like, "Ooh, I need that."
I think everybody's answer is Lindy's. There's no doubt about that. Lindy's magicals.
Respect.
No.
I mean, a major in the chat, majority, because that's exactly what they were talking about. We need the Lindy sprays. We need the Lindy's magicals.
We need the Lindis Magicals, every single new color. Come
Yeah.
on.
Molds. See, look, molds.
Possibly, but
Molds, yes.
yeah, like
Decoupage paper.
what's
Anything
the product
rainbow.
for you? That was Samantha. I'm sure that that comment about
Yeah,
rainbow
yeah.
was sincere, of course. Samantha,
Okay,
that
so the
content.
first question, the main topic, it was, am I good enough? I can be that good, and it came from these people that often comment in our projects, like saying, "You make it look so easy.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot do it." So the last topic is, do you really try? Like, when you feel so intimidated
Controversial.
by a tutorial, have you really tried to follow that tutorial, or do you give up too soon? Because I'm pretty convinced that you pick any of our tutorials, no matter what. You see first step, you stop the video, do that, play the video again, watch next step, stop the video, do that. Doing that, you will get the project done. I'm pretty sure, and it will be beautiful. But you feel overwhelmed because you think it's so easy, because you are watching a video that has been edited. Like, we cut everything that doesn't go well,
Secret.
that is too long, we speed up the process. So it seems like I'm doing this and I know what I'm doing when actually I don't know what I'm doing. So,
That is,
what do you think, guys?
mm, it's hard
Um,
for me to speak on the top because every time that I try to follow any of your classes, I will, like my rusty clock is nothing like your rusty clock. When I try to make a project with the gold foil with Iveta, I end up doing something completely different. But um, from every single one of those projects, I learned something. And I just took the liberty of making it my own. It doesn't mean that I didn't follow closely. It just, I did take the most important tips about things that I didn't know, because I don't struggle with the stuff that I already know. Because if I know it, it's because I practice it for maybe not 10,000 hours, but really close by. So I just take whatever you have that I don't know. And this one I did follow very closely. The part that I don't know, I followed step by step. You were doing something on the screen and I was doing it on my artwork. The final outcome is different because all the other steps I did, like I would do on my project. And I don't think that it defines my style, it defines my comfort zone. But
mm,
do you really want to have exactly the same piece or you just want to learn something? Because if you want to learn something, the best option is to follow and possibly fail on the process and try again and again and again, or fix the fail, and that's how you will come up with the new technique.
I can never follow tutorials. Like
We know.
I can't. I never like. I think I followed like a master class 4 times at the very beginning, um, and even then, I still did it my own way. It still turned out completely different. But like, I guess like it brings up a question like, why do you? Yeah, like why do you want to follow this tutorial? Like, are you trying to learn a particular skill? Sometimes, and that's again controversial from my personal experience, if you're trying to learn a new technique, a new skill, maybe you don't need to practice it, maybe you don't need to follow the tutorial, just watch the dumb tutorial, write it down what they did, and then create your own project, like introduce that particular technique or skill in your own project. You do not need to do all of these steps. I personally find that like it drives me nuts when like I have to like follow a tutorial and do something in the way that somebody else is doing when I don't do it that way at all. And like that instantly is a put off. But like there's other things that I can learn. So I take that information, put it on my own piece. And then,
I
you know,
hope that
Well,
all
I think
Iveta
that is
students are watching us right now.
I think that is valid
I I don't
with
I
some things, but not for other
ever
things. I have, I work mainly with Lindis, and when there are products like this that seem so easy, but they are actually not that easy, and you try to do it on your own, your way, but you want my results, you won't get that.
Mm-mm.
You have to do it the way I do it if you want this result.
Not only that, you need to be you. Like
No,
it's
no,
not
no. I'm talking about
exactly the
not
same.
not not
Like
getting the look I have in my project or my style. I'm talking about the product itself. For example, with Lindis, and I have seen this many times in my classes. People tend to use a lot of product to add a lot of water, and then they don't see the color as in my project with the shimmer like in my project. And it's because they are doing their way and not their way. That is not mine. It's like I am an expert in this product. I know how to use it, And that is what you have to learn from me, how I use it. You don't need to replicate what I do, but
To break
learn
the
how
rules,
to
you have
use
to
the
know them.
product.
Yeah.
To break
Um,
the rules, you first have to know the rules. When it depends if it's a tutorial for the artwork or technical video. Because if you want to know how the product works and how to use the product, to break those rules, first you have to know how to use it correctly and what it does, and
Yep.
then you can go and experiment. Because
And
every time when new thing, like completely new thing that I don't know at all, is introduced to me, I would go investigate and follow closely. Maybe not on the same scale, maybe on a tiny little piece that will take me just a couple minutes, but just to see how it works. Because often they seem similar, like that rusty product that we talk about, that I talked about earlier. It seems like something that I already know, though it works in a different way. And I was so curious that I somehow gathered the patience and motivation to follow that part very closely because I want to learn how to use it before I will start to go and be like, yeah, let's try this or that. And mm, by comparing it with other things that I was using, it was clear how different the results can be if you use them like you supposed to, and when you use them like you're supposed not to use them.
I think exactly like it just brings us back to what Iveta was saying. It's important to answer the question for yourself that why am I watching this tutorial? Am I watching it to just learn how the product works? Then I should go experiment with the product first and then come back to the tutorial to recreate that project in my own style, but knowing how that one product works so that I can maybe handle it or play with it in a way that I enjoy. If I'm just watching it because I'm learning a technique and I want to just recreate that, like to have fun, it's relaxing sometimes. So just keep it to that. It's just get your answer that why are you watching that? Because yes, there will never be 100% replica of it. Again, bringing us to the older point where when Nunu said the violin doesn't play by itself, it's the person playing the violin, right? So every artist have their unique style, have their unique touch. So whatever, even if you viewing the tutorial and doing it step by step, your end product is going to be different because it has your essence in it, and that's what's important. It needs to have your soul, your essence in it. It needs to be able to speak who you are. Definitely, even if you have replicated another artist's style, but it has your spirit in it, and I think that's what's important to embrace at the end of the day.
So there is nothing wrong with, just seeing like you have classes and you look at the project and you are like, oh yeah, I could have it on my wall. If that's the purpose, if you see something and you are like, oh yeah, I want to make that. And if you go for a class and you will just follow it like step by step and end up with something very similar, almost like the original. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of the purpose that you are taking that class for. Do you just want to go and make something, or you want to go and uh, learn about techniques, products? Maybe you are just going because you want to hang out with people and you don't care what you will make. And I don't know, because you are lonely, so you will go for some wild oil paint class or something like that, something
There's
that
nothing
you
wrong with a wild oil painting class.
oh if the room have no good ventilation, there that will be a wild class.
That'll be a wild ride.
But like, it can be something completely off your alley. You just look at it like, okay, it seems like I can go and hang out with people over there, and you arrive in the random place with the random stuff that you never saw
Oh,
in your life, and you are just sitting there doing stuff. What's the purpose of you following tutorial, taking the class? That depends on that will depend the final result. Because if you just want to replicate and you will replicate and you are happy with it and you will go home and do it 10,000 more times because you like it enough to have entire world covered with that, it's perfectly fine. If that's the goal, if that makes you happy, if it checks all your boxes, then go for it. I think that we are looking here for the answer how to not lose that creative happiness, because that's that is that art book for me. When I do stuff and it doesn't spark joy, it doesn't make me happy, because then I feel that the project looks like shit. And there was multiple occasions when I did something and I felt like it's awful. Everyone else like it, but I don't. Not because it's ugly ass project. It's because it didn't bring me joy to make it.
Indeed.
Yes.
So at
Okay.
the end, for this last subtopic, um, do you really try to follow the tutorial or learn the techniques or how to use the product, or you just give up too soon? Our tip would be put your hands into it. What is the worst that can happen? That you throw it to the trash? At least you learn what not to do.
Yeah.
Trash
Exactly.
bins
Yeah.
Yeah.
are very acceptable. They are very not judgmental. I know from experience.
Yeah.
Trash bin is it will not tell you, oh my God, what did you put in me? No, no. No, it's fine. It's fine. And you can, if you can look at it in the trash bin, it's also fine to cover it with something just to bury it. It's okay. Nobody will know. We will not tell anyone. Yeah.
Yes. And I just wanted to go back and, because these points from Carrie, that's her name, right,
Carrie,
Nunu?
Carrie dos
Yeah,
Santos.
Carrie. And just like she had some amazing tips. So I'm just going to go through some of them and put them out there for you all again, because, we were really happy that she wrote them down. And it's glad, it's good that we can share it with everybody. So, about the products and supplies, of course, she said, consider your purchases. Is it purposeful? Am I just buying it out of this need, like an impulse? um, what what Nunu suggested, and that's something she wrote, like keeping a wish list. Keep a wish list down in your notebook about these are the things that I would like to buy, like dividing them into topics, saying inks, stencils, mediums, whatever. Having little lists of this is what I would like to buy, and then challenging yourself when you actually shop, just picking the minimal and then striking that off your list. That really helps visually to know what you really need, what you want, and how you are working around that impulse. um, and I really like this sentence. I mean, she used it in a very different context about people, but she says that if someone is better off than me, then good for them. But to be honest, it's none of my business anyway. So I really love how she put that out there. It makes so much sense when you actually start thinking about it. And yeah, I- to just sum up with our podcast for today, just
Samantha,
go
I'm
back
judging
to
you. I'm just very honest. I'm judging you.
judging who.
Um,
Samantha, because she
Oh,
said
okay.
she have a very extended wish list.
And now I
And
hardly ever buy any. That really does work. That is good, actually. That is a good thing. It works, yeah. So yeah,
how about you girls? How your shopping looks like? Because I did share it at some point that my shopping lately is quite boring, to be fair, because those were just restocks of my favorite things that I ran out of.
I
Maybe
agree.
a new color of something that I really enjoy. but I didn't went for like crazy spree, like, oh, I need this and that and this and that for a really long time. Because
But I as I said before, we all go through that moment that we need everything and we start shopping, 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 and that is, I always read in the crafty community is three times joy. Once when you see it, second when you buy it, third when you get it finally. And I discovered myself that the only things I buy now are gesso because I ran out, glue because I ran out, uh, acrylic paint because I ran out.
I can add the
And
fourth,
my box is always so boring when I open it that there is zero joy in that.
but I can add the fourth one to the list. I also had experience when I did a huge research for the first time. I did experience joy for the fourth time when I released some space on the shelf and I sent the product that gave me so much joy and no use at all to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good moment as well because uh, mm, that moment when you feel like, oh, I need this and that and this and oh, I saw this one, and you end up with that huge basket, especially if you can buy it. And sometimes we all are at the point that, I don't know, it's a perfect opportunity because it's extreme sale or something like that, and you will get a ton of stuff in the fraction of price, let's say, for purpose of that exercise. And does it really bring you so much joy? Because you will come back home, you will maybe try them all and will end up not using them. Because since some time my main purpose is to have only things that I use. And yeah, that Lindy's thing last time, that was a surprise for me because I had a couple of the products on my shelf, and I kept them because they were pretty and I could use them to certain stuff. But I didn't have as much use as for 2 years, I think 3 maybe. I had a small set of Lindy's products on my shelf, and I was using them time to time. But within the last 2 weeks or so, I had more use of that little section of my shelf than I did for last 2 years. So yes, I would probably be interested in expanding that because I already know that it can bring me joy. And the same is with all the other stuff. I'm not buying all the colors, but every time when I want to try something, I will take one to see if I like it, because and it will be brown because brown always, you can always use it somewhere. So if I like it, I will expand the collection. If I don't like it, then well, I just purchased one, no entire rainbow right away. So it's only small loss, not
Okay.
a big one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to the end of this podcast episode. And just summarizing, I mean, just putting things back into perspective, I think it's very important for us to be a little more mindful about our self talk, about how we nurture ourselves, the kind of words we speak to ourselves in this thing called brain, and understand what your goals are, like understanding why we want to create, why we do what we do, why we want to watch a particular tutorial. um, when you have that understanding, I think it takes away a lot of that pressure of being good enough or not being able to perform like the other person, which brings us back to the point that let us just compare ourselves to who we were yesterday. That's the easiest comparison that we can do. And enjoying the process is what matters. So putting your hands into it. And by that, I mean, unlike Nunu, like literally putting your hands into the product, messing your hands up and being happy with it and not wanting to run to wash them. That's just a side note for Sue and everybody who's watching. But yeah, so just
Mhm.
dive in it and sort of enjoy it, enjoy the process, and find your way back to your, spark, to that thing that sparks joy in you. So I think that is what we are trying to say with this episode of the podcast.
And limit the amount of everything that you consume.
Yeah. Yes.
Product, content, inspiration, outside inspiration. If you
Yeah.
find that you're struggling with inspiration, remove it. Allow it to come from you, not somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I wanted to quickly answer. Sandy was asking, and then I just lost in comments. Yes, Sandy, I am a therapist, a clinical psychologist by the day,
Hit that
and I've studied art therapy. So yes, answering your question.
I would appreciate, guys, if you leave a comment after we finish.
Maybe I have a
Let us know if
question.
you like this kind of open mic, if you would like to join us next time, maybe in the screen. Uh, and also, if you have any topic that you would like us to talk about,
Yeah,
please leave
write
it
to
there.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let us know in the comments.
exactly.
As as we are wrapping up, then if somebody have any questions, that's the good moment to put them in the chat that I cannot see, but we have two people watching the chat, so they will notice. And yeah, before we will go, I will ask each one of you for one tip how to deal with that art block, with that feeling. How what is your solution for that? I'm not good enough. I don't want to go to my desk. I don't feel that I can do anything on a different level. How do you overcome it?
Beta?
Um, just not to. I don't want to get sued by, but like, just go for it. Like, just force yourself to do it. Start the movement. Stop thinking and start moving. Like, as just carry on. I mean, like, I implement the naughty shelf, not here, but like the naughty shelf a lot, right? For projects that I'm like, okay, you're not working out, go over there. And then sit back down and carry on until you can finish something.
Adi?
So I'd like to say that fix a number of chances for yourself, somewhere between 3 to 5. That always works, where you tell yourself that, okay, I have, if I'm feeling lack of motivation and I don't want to do something, I give myself 3 days to stay in this. Okay, I let myself relax, I let myself live with it, because it's very important for us to accept how we're feeling and not find a distraction. So instead of doing that, I will let myself for 3 days and at the max 5 days to feel the way I'm feeling, where I have a visual system of, today is the first day, I don't feel up to it. I am going to just sort of sit with the feeling. And at the end of it, then you have to push yourself out of that, in the sense that I gave myself the number of chances I needed. I'm rested. I have taken time out to do other things. If, I was overwhelmed by other things, I've accepted my emotions. But now I need to do something to change my situation. And then just begin by actually just taking ink or paint and just splattering onto paper. Just start from there, break the ice for yourself, and then see what calls you. That's it.
In my case, I go back to my roots. What makes me happy? Like this very week, I've been so stressed with so many things happening every day. I was moody, and stressed because I have to teach a class on Sunday and I didn't create the project yet. And then I sat in my table yesterday, like, okay, focus. Why you do this? You are happy with this, so start being happy. And then I create my project in my very old style. It's an art journal page, and it's very much why I used to do, not what I do now. And it's because I went back to my root, what makes me happy, and that's it. And if I cannot do that for any reason, it's not working, what it usually helps me is to switch colors. I switch colors. Yes, even though I have done it many times, I don't mind. I just do it. Yes, the color, I don't know, activates something in my brain. Olga?
Mine will be not removing, but it will not work for everyone. But my way is minimizing me, narrowing to very minimum the pressure on yourself. I always need a little bit external pressure to do stuff. And when that pressure is on minimum level, that's the most optimal way for me to do stuff. So instead of using my own pressure, that is a lot, and it's, like up here, it's a high level. You have to do it. It have to be perfect. It have to be this or that. No, I minimalize it. Like, I just want to do something. And that is the goal. Do something. It doesn't have to be good or bad or, like the lowest possible amount of pressure on myself will allow me to open up and start. And maybe the first one or first 10 will go to bin, but I can check the box. I did achieve the goal. The goal was to do something, and there was a tiny bit pressure, but just a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I
Wow.
got
That
that tip
was
from Adi, actually. I will be completely honest that I got that tip from Adi. But it works. And I was surprised that it worked. I did try it. I wasn't convinced. It
God,
does work.
Addie's
I'm
gonna be our
glad.
business. Secret.
Yeah. I'm glad that
Okay.
worked.
So thank you so much, everybody in the chat. Thank you, friends, for
Thank you,
this
everybody.
wonderful evening. I really enjoyed, and I hope you did too.
Yes.
Yes.
And
And
we'll
we'll see
see
you
you.
all soon.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I did, though I didn't expect that it will be so personal.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.